Hello, I'm Ken. So I'm here to show you how I made this slider box with the, it was a bee, but now it's a ladybug that pops out. It is, I have included this template for you to print out. Notice that one part of it is to scale that you can just cut and use, when one is a diagram that is not to scale that you need to measure. And most importantly, the base is using Karen Burniston's slider box 1227. It is, all the measurements are based off of this box, and it's very useful. You're going to use three pieces: the back, two pieces of the sleeve, I guess it's called, and one part is the end. But I have it cut out already. So I would prefer actually heavy cardstock for these because you're going to be pulling and yanking on them. So all the parts I would use heavy cardstock, but we're going to start with the base. And the base, if you look at the finished box, you have a pull string that makes it easier to work the mechanism. So we're going to put an eyelet in the hole. And the way that Karen designed the box, it's already, perfect with the hole there for the perfect size, and just need to put an eyelet in there and get some twine to make it a real slider box. So I think I'm trying to figure out what color to use, but I think we're just going to go with purple. And this is actually a Japanese kind of uh, method. It's called Kamikara, and it's Japanese paper toys with action involved. Usually they have um, cranks. They make gears and stuff like that out of paper, and you crank them and they move. But this version, not version, but this concept I saw, but I just can't find it anymore. So I remember seeing the diagram, and I can't even remember what animal it was, but you gotta use a small animal that's suitable to come out and nip at your hand. So the way this works is after you tie the twine inside, you're going to fold over and glue down the tab. So that'll glue in the twine as well. So don't worry about it. All the folds are mountain folds. I will try to link up Karen's tutorial to the slider box, but it's pretty self-explanatory. And again, if I can't link it, or you have a problem with it, then just search for Karen Burniston slider box. What is it? 1227. And now we're just getting the base done. The slider part, the drawer part done, the part that's going to be pulled out. And like Karen, I followed her example and used the line coat glue, which works very well. I don't know what I'm doing dabbing all this glue around, but you just need to put glue on the top flap basically, and it'll glue everything down because it, folds over. It is a pretty small box, and it's measured just right, cut just right, so it's pretty tight. Since there's an eyelet in there, it makes it a little thicker, so you gotta just hold it and let the glue set. And now to the other point. The reason I not came up, but I had the idea to do this was I remember this little trick, and I was trying to figure it out, and I thought it would work really well with Susan's flowers, maybe like a bee or some sort of flying creature, insect came and bit you on the hand, maybe a butterfly or something. So that's when I pulled out Karen's template and started playing with it, with the box and with the mechanism that I remember seeing but I can't find. Anyway, the base is done. Now that's glued together. And from here, this example, I'm going to go back to the bee. You choose the bee or the ladybug, or you can design your own, a bird, butterfly, a bat, not a bat, but a mosquito, I don't know. I have it cut out already, and there are multiple score marks that you need to do. First of all, the head. Right at the top there is a score you need to make. All mountain folds. And I don't even know what this is called, curling, but you gotta take your bone folder and curl up the, this is like the back of the bee, so it curves around, and it makes it hard when there's a curve to glue on, so you gotta help it a little bit. Next, on the body, every leg gets scored, every one of these tabs. They're all tiny, but they all work. They all help the curve of the bee or the ladybug get stuck on there. This is the butt, and there are 2 lines on the body. So after you score them all, it's ready to get assembled. You get the head of the bee, and for some reason I'm having problems with the glue this time, gluing the head on. Usually it's not a problem. I just wasn't patient enough and didn't let the glue set. But you place the head in that little slot and just let it glue. The arrow is the tummy of the insect. Just remember that for later. I know I said butt, but I think tummy is more accurate. See, I'm just not patient enough. I need to let it glue. Part of it is because the tab is also so small. It just needs to be a certain size for it to fit into a box and for it to be cute. Skipping ahead a little bit, the tabs all get glued. You start with the longest tab. You glue that strap on, and then from there it's easier to have the form of the body. all these little tabs get glued. It'll take a little bit because the tabs are so small, and with the curve, it's hard for the body to make contact. But once done, it'll give you this nice rounded curved shape. You might have to keep squeezing bits of glue in there to the tabs to keep it down. For the head, I have a different piece for the ladybug that I stuck on there to make it more interesting. The bee, last time I had acetate wings too. The measurement is, sometimes it works, sometimes it's not that perfect, but if it sticks out a little bit like that at the butt, just trim it off. I think it depends on the curve. It can't be completely accurate, so sometimes it's fine, sometimes there's a little bit hanging off and you want it to be flat. And I do think medium stock works best for it to hold its shape. It can't be too soft, the paper. As you can see, one part gets stuck down, one part, bounces back up, but we'll get it done. So now let's move on to the part where we need to cut ourselves. For that, we need to form the sleeve, the top, the sleeve first, and that comes in 2 pieces. Just make every mountain fold. There's one end where you'll notice all these tabs, and that's the back end, where we'll deal with at the very end. So you can see that there's a small tab on the long side, there's a small tab and a big tab. The small tab glues onto the big tab. Let's just glue one side on first for now. So once that's glued on, we're going to work on the mechanism up top. Like I said, I think of this as a roller coaster, and there's a part that we're going to do now that's like the track. And what we just did, the bee, is like the coaster itself. So the length is about 4 1/4. So we're going to double that for our mechanism, because it doubles over. One part is the base and one part is the tracks itself. But I think I just did 8 inches, and it's 2 1/4 wide. the scoreboard. So this doubles over and you make sure it fits inside the top of the sleeve itself. And what we need to do now is we need to make cuts that goes all the way to the fold. About 1/2 inch all around, as you can see on the diagram. That little L shape, that little square is 1/2 inch. So cut down, but cut within, don't cut to within 1/2 inch of the fold. We'll do that by hand. That's not my dog. I hate yappy dogs. Anyway, cut 1/2 inch close to the fold. Then we'll get out our scissors and we're going to trim a little notch in the middle. This is all for the 2 little square tabs that's going to be folded open later. And these tabs act as a guide to our coaster later on. So as you trim out this notch, you keep cutting to the strip. You want to make that a hang chad, basically. You cut to this strip. So let's get out our scoreboard again. So these 2, you fold them open and they're the guarding gate of your roller coaster track. It's just to make sure the insect is at the right position before it flips up. So now I can see that I wasn't too even, and I'm gonna have to just trim it. And now we're gonna glue the 2 tracks to itself. But we're just going to glue the top maybe 1/2 inch or so, not too much. You just glue it in, hold it, let it set so it preserves the 2 tracks on both sides. With 2 nubs hanging open there. So with this done, it can actually go inside the sleeve. It's gonna go on the top of the sleeve, so you decide which side you want to make the top. And the edge you're going to measure against is not the edge with the tab, the closed one, it's the open end. You're going to measure the edge too. here I use my favorite Tombow, is that how you guys say it? Tape. It's so easy to use. Tombow. So we get the track installed right to the edge. And now we move on to the next part. This part is to scale, and you just cut it out. I left it so I can cut it. You can see me cutting it out because there is something to be mindful of. The dotted line is the only valley fold. So as you cut on the inside, going up, you're going to cut into the top to the dotted line. So another little nub. Same thing with the other side. Cut that slot into up to the dotted line. And we're almost there. Now we're going to take our scoreboard again. This is what I consider the roller coaster itself that's going to fit into the track. I call it the glider. So score all 3 lines. Valley fold, mountain, mountain. And remember where you've seen an arrow before that looks like that, or a triangle? Right there in the tummy. So you're going to line those up in the right direction, and they glue together. Make sure it's glued straight. And you see that I folded the top piece down. It should be folded down. And the back folds down too. You can almost see it now. It's the right side up. Okay, so now the coaster itself is done, the glider. It goes into the track. The top piece folds down, and you want to get those 2 slots into the 2 tracks. So you go in sideways and just slide it underneath one side and then the next. Spin it around. The head of the insect should be towards the opening gate. And he should fit between the 2 gates and flip around like that. Again, not my yappy dog. So now you see it's already, just one last part, getting the slider in there. The drawer part. You have to maneuver just a little bit to get this part. It's a weird angle, but once you get it, the arrow faces up. And I see that I made the arrow a little too long, so just trim off the excess. You don't want it to go over the top of the drawer. And then apply glue. This is how it's going to go in, with the arrow facing up at the end of the drawer. So the whole thing will pull this coaster part back as it slides in. So first, let's close off the sleeve. Just glue this small long tab together. And remember, you still have one side that has tabs, and that's the end of the box. Okay, now let's glue the bead to the drawer with the arrow facing up. You just apply glue to the two strips on the side and a little bit on top. It's sort of a weird angle because you have the sleeve in your way. And after it's glued in, you're going to insert it into the sleeve while avoiding the two gate chad nubs that's on both sides of the bee. You want to make sure he fits in between those two. If there's ever any problem, make sure you check those two tabs first, because usually it's them moving and getting stuck in the way. And after you first insert it, you want to just adjust the two tabs a little bit, and then just keep on sliding it open and shut, letting the slider box get used to this motion. And now we close off the back end. Not too much glue, because the little box is just big enough to cover the hole. And definitely don't glue the slider box to it. Make sure you stay clear. And now you can think of all the wonderful ways you can decorate it with Susan's beautiful flowers. I chose the Magnolia last time, and there's another time it was Black Eyed Susan and the Queen Anne's lace. So you want to make sure that when you put flowers in there, you leave the insect some room up top. You don't crowd it too much that it has no room to spin around. And again, watch out for those two tabs. And keep working it in the beginning. So there is your mechanism. Enjoy some time lapse of me making the Magnolias. Thank you.